This is the History of New Zealand podcast on the Eat to My Own Beat podcast network. I'm Clive Turner. History of New Zealand. Episode 2. Early European Exploration. An early map of Australasia during the golden age of Dutch exploration and discovery, c. 1590s, c. 1720s. Based on a chart by Joan Blaeu, c. 1644. Map of the New Zealand coastline as Cook charted it on his first visit in 1769-70. The track of the Endeavour is also shown. The first Europeans known to have reached New Zealand were the crew of Dutch explorer Abel Tasman, who arrived in his ships Heemskerk and Zeehan. Tasman anchored at the northern end of the South Island in Golden Bay, he named it Murderers Bay, in December 1642 and sailed northward to Tonga, following an attack by local Maori, Ngati Tumatakokiri. Tasman sketched sections of the two main islands' west coasts. Tasman called them Staten Land, after the States General of the Netherlands, and that name appeared on his first maps of the country. In 1645, Dutch cartographers changed the name to Nova Zealandia in Latin, from New Zealand, after the Dutch province of Zeeland. Over 100 years elapsed before Europeans returned to New Zealand. In 1769, British naval captain James Cook of H.M. Bark Endeavour visited New Zealand, and coincidentally, only 2 months later, Frenchman Jean-François de Surville, in command of his own expedition, reached the country. When Cook left on his first voyage, the sealed orders given to him by the British Admiralty ordered him to proceed to the westward between the latitude before mentioned and the latitude of 35° until you discover it, or fall in with the eastern side of the land discovered by Tasman, and now called New Zealand. He would return to New Zealand on both of his subsequent voyages of discovery. Various claims have been made that New Zealand was reached by other non-Polynesian voyagers before Tasman, but these are not widely accepted. Peter Trickett, for example, argues in Beyond Capricorn that the Portuguese explorer Cristóvão de Mendonça reached New Zealand in the 1520s, and the Tamil Bell discovered by missionary William Colenso has given rise to a number of theories. But historians generally believe the bell is not in itself proof of early Tamil contact with New Zealand. From the 1790s, the waters around New Zealand were visited by British, French, and American whaling, sealing, and trading ships. Their crews traded European goods, including guns and metal tools, for Maori food, water, wood, flax, and sex. Maori were reputed to be enthusiastic and canny traders, even though the levels of technology, institutions, and property rights differed greatly from the standards in European societies. Although there were some conflicts, such as the killing of French explorer Marc-Joseph Marion Dufresne in 1772, and the destruction of the Boyd in 1809, most contact between Maori and Europeans was peaceful. Thank you for listening to the History of New Zealand podcast. Join us every Tuesday at noon Pacific for new episodes. Find us on Facebook at the History of New Zealand podcast, on YouTube, and at www.eattomyownbeat.com.